All right, hello. This is Alexander Wales. What are we doing today? We're doing the Exclusions doc, as always. I need to change this because this is stream number 27, I believe. Okay, done. This is stream number 27. We're going to be working on the Ash exclusion zone today. Before we start, I just want to mention this blog post. This is from me. This is the AI art apocalypse. Very clickbait title. Generally has gotten good responses. If you want to read about AI art, I will put a link in the chat. If you have not read this and you care at all about the topic, these are my general thoughts on it. I am not going to say anything more about this, except responses have generally been positive for something that a lot of people like to argue about. So I will pat myself on the back just a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I added this. I added this a little bit ago. Please enjoy all exclusion zones equally. There's a Severance reference, but I love the energy of it. Okay. Ash exclusion zone. I have added probably more images. I just don't have any idea where they are. I'm probably going to do an art stream once I get near the end to kind of like talk about what works and what doesn't, and I will probably spend a little bit of money just to have someone Photoshop some of the more obvious stuff. And I do technically have DALL-E access through my wife now. That means I can do in-painting, which means that I can take an image generated by Stable Diffusion or Midjourney, which are the two that I've been using, and I can use DALL-E's in-painting on those to fix flaws. Like there's the guy with the messed up hand in the current best candidate picture for the Tarot Mage exclusion zone. And I can just take that image, put the part I want to change into DALL-E, do some in-painting, be like, hey, there should be a hand here, and then just, a hand holding a card, and then just hope that DALL-E doesn't screw it up too many times before I run out of prompts. So there might be an art stream. I don't know how I would stream that because I don't know that much about streaming and how to stream different things like that. I don't know if it'd just be a capture of the of different pages or like a capture of my entire desktop, which doesn't feel like a thing I super want to do. Anyway, moving on, the Ash exclusion zone. Some of this comes from, I don't think the Ash exclusion zone, you know what, oh, come on, just load. Okay. I hate how incredibly slow full work can be sometimes. I always feel like text should be like... Okay, Ash Magic isn't there, and I'm gonna just double check that Ash Magic isn't there. I don't think Ash Magic is mentioned at all. This is the glyph, I think they call it. There are a whole bunch of typography terms, and I kind of want to use them for different things, but this is called an ash, the ash symbol. That's the joke. Why is it called this? Yeah, okay, it is a ligature. That's the word I was thinking of. Okay. Interesting. Called an ash tree, transliterated meaning... Does that rune mean ash then? Whatever. I'm not gonna belabor this, but yeah, probably not totally related to the meaning of the word ash. That's not really super important, I don't think. We can maybe incorporate it. This is the world building doc for God Game, which was the campaign I was running that has a super ton of overlap between Worth the Candle, so I was running it at the same time as I was writing Worth the Candle, especially like the early stuff. And I wrote this giant, huge world building document that incorporated a lot of stuff that I had from Worth the Candle, and then I did a sort of back and forth. They were cross-pollinating each other in a nice way. But Ash Magic was taken from here. And so the idea behind Ash Magic is that you evoke the spirit of something which has been burnt to ash. And then you can like have a ghostly sword. And this works really well in D&D because you can like say, oh, ash mages are limited to a certain amount of ash, and so this is like their once a day spell that they can do, that they can make a magical weapon in their hand, or they can cast magic armor on themselves, or whatever. What I liked about this for an exclusion zone, ghostly ashes to ashes. I guess like what I liked about this was this part here. Like you burn a corpse to talk to a temporary ghost, or you burn a ruined book to get at the like the soul of the thing or whatever. This is less. This is more specific to the setting, and one thing I did, and there was absolutely no reason for me to do this, but all these magic systems, I tried to be like, okay, what's a... Sorry, one sec. What's a like adventure prompt that I could put? And so everything in italics here is some kind of adventure prompt or plot hook, or like what's like a cool thing that we can do with this magic and stuff. And I like the idea of an Ash Mage Necromancer. Is that you're not touching the soul in some way. I don't know if I'm going to include that. I'm not going to copy any of this. I just wanted to point it out real quick because that's the basis that I am working from for this one. All right, yeah, and this is a Wednesday stream. The Monday stream didn't happen. I just had stayed up super late writing like 8,000 word chapter for dungeons. Like chapters are supposed to be like 5,000 words. They're supposed to be like between 4,000 and 5,000. That's my goal for chapters, and I just went super long on that one, and I stayed up super late to do it. And just didn't have... I just need the sleep, so I didn't stream. And then yesterday, I had a terrible day taking my son to the dentist, and a lot of, like, trying to teach a small child to be less of a butt. Is that all that this has right now? It was very long. It's very, like... Yeah, dungeons chapters are usually supposed to be, like, 1 or maybe 2 chapters, and, I guess it's not out to the public yet, but this one is at least 4. Yeah, it's like... It's like 5,000 word chapter, 5,000 word chapter, 8,000 word chapter, 8,000 word chapter, which is a lot. It's like, I mean, not by the standards of other serial authors, certainly, but by my standards, that is, and especially by the standards, the previous standards of dungeons, that's very long. So I know what the magic is. That's a good first step. Magic. We can just do history first. The thing is, I'm not sure what the exclusion is. Like, recursion's always a go-to, but I don't think it's the best. I feel like there's too much like recursion. I'm gonna try to hammer this out here before I actually start writing. So Ash Magic. And type is minor, which is important. It means that it is no more difficult to live there than to live in, like, I don't know, Las Vegas or like Phoenix, Arizona. A testament to man's hubris, but you could do it. And I'm going to see, I'm definitely only doing one today, but I'm going to see. I also stayed up super late last night, but I'm awake now, and I tried to sleep just a little bit ago, and I couldn't get to sleep, so I'm streaming. So this might be that, like, terrible stream. But I also do want to stream every weekday, so. Las Vegas has a lot of, there's a Tumblr post just points out how ridiculous of a D&D city Las Vegas is. It's this, like, this hive of scum and villainy and, like, rich excess that's just, like, smack in the middle of the desert for no... I feel like there is a reason that Las Vegas is where it is, but like I feel like if I talked to a geographer, they'd understand a little bit better, but a little bit better than I do. But there probably is a reason Las Vegas is the place that it is. I'm not gonna go into it, but tax reasons. All right, I kind of thought it was something. I was gonna say dumb. Something that is man-made, like that. My other guess was legal reasons, like it's just the one place that. Okay, I will. Yeah. That there's, like, certain things that are only legal in this, like, one barren region of the desert, and so a bunch of people move there, and then other junk gets built up around it. Okay, Ash Magic allows the resurrection of things in ghostly forms to be used again. You know, maybe this is enough. Okay, we're going to say requires Ash, obviously. Limited duration, but we're going to put a question mark on that. Is that interesting? Limited duration, but you mix in... So, limited duration, but you mix in something that makes the duration not limited, that could give you roaming ghosts. I think this is going to be like a roaming ghost area. And Too Hot for Humans is probably going to be not altered, but I'm going to look at Bacon Time's handy dandy additions to this that make the map comport with this. I don't know if that's the correct use of comport. I hope it is. Okay. We're going to say not Too Hot for Humans. Too Hot for Humans was something I had added because I was like, ooh, wouldn't this be neat if there was an exclusion zone that only exists, like, that humans can't even get to? I thought that would be neat. Like, it's already in an inhospitable area. I'm not sure about that. So what do we need? We need a primer on Ash Magic. say... Yeah, I'm definitely going to go sleep right after this. And I might stop the stream early if I'm like, oh, that sleep that I was seeking has now come at an inopportune time. I don't think this matters for date. Like, it's not going to have date-specific things in it. I've already decided. Maybe... All right. Well, we're gonna say that there's a Second Empire one, but it's not one that involves the Second Empire, unless I think of an interesting way that it could, beyond just Second Empire screws things up. I'm not sure that I have hit my limit of Second Empire screws things up in this doc. Let me double check my stats. I've got 27. I've got at least like 2 or 3 more Second Empire screws things up entries in here. In that particular exploitative way that they do. I think like 2, 3, or even 4 more would be totally fine, and not overdoing it on that score. Copying almost verbatim what's in the other world building document. Yes, you could use it for murder investigations. In the original conception, like temporarily resurrecting someone is something that you do, like, if you're a master and you have lots of power and time and whatever else. But originally this was for a D&D setting, and so that was how an Ash Mage would do, like, Speak to Dead and stuff. Which is like Speak to Dead is a hard thing to work around if you're a Dungeon Master. You just have to kind of be like, okay, that's a thing in this world, and we accept all the consequences. But yeah, it was bringing people back to life as, like, summons to fight for you, or Speak with Dead was like kind of how I saw Ash Magic fitting in with the, like, 30 others in the setting. And it was one that got a little bit of I was going to say screen time, but table time. So no one played an Ash Mage, but we had them show up on more than one occasion. We used Ghostly twice to create a spectral. It is difficult to turn metal into ash. I think I'm going to go over that. I mean, it would have to be like a wooden sword or under conventional rules. Yeah, you can burn metal under certain circumstances. In a way, you would think that because rust is just oxidation, it's like a slow burning. So maybe, sorry, I need to double check if I have a rust magic. I love rust. I feel like I've used rust too much in various things. I'm pretty sure there's not a rust magic though, which is weird. Why is there no rust magic? There's in my Renaissance superhero novel, Shadows of the Limelight, there are Rust Illustrati who have control over Rust. But I don't think they get much screen time there. Sorry, did I just search this Rust? There's a plane of Rust. Rust mages are a thing. Alright, it's an electrochemical reaction. I still kind of want to include it. I still kind of want to include it. But I won't. because I think it's a neat extension. I think it's the kind of thing that if I read it in a book, I wouldn't immediately think, oh, that's bullshit. I would think, oh, that's like a cool, like these things are similar, like, I don't know how you'd want to phrase that when you're having someone explain why these two things are in fact the same. Or even if you could explain that they are the same. But yeah, you absolutely can have wood swords. I almost did change that to a burnt wood sword. Maybe I'm just gonna do that and carry on with it because I don't think the metal thing is necessary. Do I think it's interesting? Like it might be necessary because it's interesting. Okay. Just gonna put it to do. I'm not getting this today. I don't have the bandwidth for it. Or the mental bandwidth for it. Between rust and fire, comma. I think wood sword works. I think wood sword is evocative. There are not enough spears in Worth Candle. I agree. I'm a spear guy myself, mostly. Not like a spear supremacist, but I do. Like if I had to fight with a weapon, it for sure would be a spear, and not like a Buster Sword or whatever the anime geeks are into. Maybe they're into spears these days. I don't know. Research relationship between fire and rust. Burning. Let's do some research there. I'm going to do that later, and I will edit this if it needs to. It's not going to be relevant at all to this entry. I don't want to use the word copy. I like copies a lot. I think if you've read my body of work, you will have seen copies show up a lot. But the word copy, I guess, possibly the Doris Finch entry here. Let me see how many times copy shows up. It shows up 5 times. In the copy clans, okay, it actually doesn't show up in the exclusions doc at all. Yeah, I think if you're a creative type, you really want to not shove the same. You want to get away from the ideas that you're drawn to. Here, we'll just say apparition. No, we said apparition before. Create a. All right, I'm tired enough that I want to use just use the source. A phantom. A phantom? I want that feeling of not realness. Phantom. I guess phantom. Okay. And then this to do, depending on what I decide the results of it that are, would go up before this, maybe. It would go early on. I just want to make sure if I'm doing that to do, that I don't have a bridge between these two paragraphs. It's going to have to be rewritten later. I'm trying to write around that. I say never had been possible before. You could kill someone, have them go to the hells, and whatever. Sorry, I got a ping from Flower with Bloom Nowhere. Okay. I need to not turn off pings because I like the pings, but streamer. I need to be a better streamer. Sorry. Pings always worry me. I worry I'm in trouble. I woke up and I had a whole bunch of emails, and I was like, oh god, what is all this emails about? And it was just people commenting on that AI art article, because I don't have automatic moderation. I just manually review every comment. But I had that moment of panic where I'm like, oh god, I shouldn't have this many notifications. Can you clone yourself if you burn a piece of your own body while alive? I like that, so I'm going to say yes. If I were a DM, I'd allow that. Although, there's enough healing magic in the world that, like, you could burn a piece of yourself and make a clone, and then just like regrow the flesh and burn some more. So like if I were a DM and I thought you were trying to go infinite with it, that it wouldn't have that, like cutting off your own. I was gonna say hand, but I guess I don't know like how much material you'd need, and if you needed the material, like what part of your body you'd cut off. I almost think you'd take from the thigh if it wouldn't stop you from walking. Yeah, you could. Okay, so I guess I can explain some stuff before we go to it, but I wanted exclusion caused by mass resurrection. Okay, so these are going to be limited shades that are, I was going to say sort of like they are in Harry Potter, where they're, like, not adaptable. and not really capable of doing much in the way of useful work, except for like teaching history. But I think it's this mass thing right here. And I think it's not just going to be a cause of exploitation within the magic, it's going to be like the admixture of things into the ash. They could. Let me just continue on. I like this idea. Someone driven. I like this idea. I think this is a interesting drive that we have not seen before. I don't think. Technically, I guess the Jurassic Park zone, whose name I'm never gonna no, it's Old Gromsh. The Old Gromsh Jurassic Park zone could be seen as being driven by a desire to bring the past back to life. This is like a different, more personal way than that. But that was the idea. That was like someone whose like society or culture had been wiped out, and so they like burn all the bodies that they can, like maybe even of long dead people who are mostly bones, and like bring this entire population back. And I don't know, like in theory it still works within the zone like ash magic does, and so it gotta figure that out. Maybe. Wiped out by the Second Empire is my current thinking, but that makes this another Second Empire zone. But it's a different kind. Something, a city of immortals from lost peoples. I think just probably one group of lost people. Um, as far as conflicts with like Worth the Candle, I'm gonna try not to worry about that too much. I think it's the kind of thing where if you're wondering why someone could do something and someone couldn't, that is an opportune place for a note. That is one of the benefits. Here, I'm just going to put a note for myself. But I think I'm going to try to make clear why you would not do that. Like why these people are not, or why these shades are not people, I guess. Or why people wouldn't consider them people. Yeah, it can't be used on Uther. Because needing the body is like at least a somewhat interesting requirement. I've unfortunately made this into one that I need to write carefully, and I am tired. So I am gonna do my best, and we'll see if there's one I need to come back to. Um, how's it going? I'm tired. I'm caffeinating right now, so this caffeine is making its way through my system. I am going pretty good. Yes, my yesterday was terrible just because I had to take the kid to the dentist, and it just like derailed my whole day. But I literally everything else was great about yesterday. Just had this like it's like I don't know 5 to 6. I was just like super angry about it, and kid did not. He was like crying a bunch about having his teeth clean. He like refusing to cooperate in this dental visit that should have taken like maybe 15 minutes. Took like an hour, and then we didn't get all the stuff done and stuff. But yeah, no, I mean today, yesterday was good. I did a blog post and then a different blog post, and it got well received in a way that I'm not used to. And I got I signed the audiobook deal for This Used to Be About Dungeons, which is very nice from a money standpoint. Uh, I think for my son, what he really didn't like was having this thing in his mouth for X-rays, and then that made the whole rest of the visit go downhill because he was just like he just didn't want to do any of it, and he kind of ended up not having to do all of it because, as it turns out, you can't go to the dentist and be like, "Hey, we're gonna have this like teeth cleaning thing take 50 minutes of like struggling and stuff," and you can't just like hold a child down to have their teeth cleaned. They have to cooperate. So yeah, as it turns out, you can't just take all the all the dentist's time by having a very 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 stubborn little boy, um, which I'm sure he gets from us, but I'm not that stubborn. Uh, let's say imperial purposes. Bribery did not work. I don't like to bribe, but I will. And bribery did not work. No. He's 6, so he has no sense of proportion for anything. So like I told him just like half an hour in. I'm like, well, there's gonna be consequences if your teeth don't get cleaned, and he's like, well, I don't care what the consequences are. I'm not doing it, and I, I didn't want to like commit hard to the consequences and then and then not be able to follow through later. Right? It's important to me if I say this is the consequence of that, then we actually do the consequence, right? Because otherwise, it's just like you learn that when someone says there will be consequences, sometimes they mean actually they're like, actually we're gonna dial it back a little bit. But I had asked him like later in the day, like, what did you think that the consequence was going to be? And he's like, well, I really thought that you were gonna put my bed up on the roof and make me sleep up on the roof. And I'm like, what? We have this big, we have we have a normal like 2-story house in the suburbs or whatever. It's got a sloped roof, and I'm like, why would we do that? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, you were like that was the consequence you were afraid of? And he's like, yeah, because the bed could slip and like fall in the middle of the night, and I'd like fall off the house. I'm like, well, where did this idea like? Why was that the thing? Yeah, kids are. I don't want to say dumb, but like they get these ideas in their head, and I think if they don't talk to you, and even if they do, it's hard to like root out where these ideas come from. Sorry, I'm talking much and not writing much, but that's because I'm tired. The bed could in fact slip off, yeah. And I talked to my wife later. I was like, how hard would it be to put his bed up on the roof? And she said, yeah, pretty hard. so we decided not to do that. But yeah, when he was super little, he was afraid of stamps. Because we went to like a dog show or whatever, and they put a stamp on your hand to say you paid, and he started. We were gonna put a stamp on his hand, and he started crying, and we had no idea why. And eventually, they just let him in, and they're like, yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. He's like, he was like 3 or 4, and I didn't find out until several months later that what he'd been afraid of is he thought that a stamp was the same thing as a tattoo, and he had heard that tattoos hurt a lot, and he thought that we were getting tattoos when they did put the stamp on our hand, and that's why he like was crying, because he was afraid that they were gonna like tattoo his hand and it would hurt a bunch, even though we'd have no reaction to that tattoos. But I didn't find that out until like 4 months after that he had thought stamps and tattoos were the same thing. So yeah, kids lack context. I'm not gonna say stupid, but you figure that stuff out as you go. Okay, actual writing. I swear this time. Yeah. If I'm not writing, at least hopefully you're learning something else. in what do we call them? Revolutionary. Martian. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no unless they want to. But not as like an automatic thing. Um, I'm gonna real quick go to Midjourney, sign in, I guess. Okay. Phew. I did a bunch of AI art for the AI art blog posts, which is neither here nor there. This was trying to make the Hat of Brilliance. I'm trying to find the picture for. I'm gonna look at these real quick, because I do want it to like help inform the writing a little bit. I was thinking about one of these for the picture. I kind of like that one, except I don't like the white background. The white background is not something that I've done in any of the other pictures. I kind of like this one, except the head, like the chin, feels like a little bit off. But I like this. I think this looks good. And then the gray background does not look to me as bad because okay, I'm just gonna put this one in for now. While I was thinking about it. And of course we got the beautiful inversion of this. Okay. Oh shoot, what would we call it? We call it the nascent soul? No, we call it the anima ipsa and the anima. I feel like there's another word for anima exa. Okay. Here, we're gonna say, yeah. We're gonna say Ash Magic's the Lost Art. That closes the thing with Juniper and Fen, and then we don't need to talk about it. Though I like the idea that lost arts are actually not lost. I feel like Worth the Candle has a ton of that. That it's like, oh, the last practitioner has been killed, and it's like, well, has he though? That's very funny to me. Especially if there's like a ton of them. Yeah, it's 12 o'clock. Gotta get the train going by. I think it was normally it's 11:30 my time when the train comes, but I think it got delayed due to rain. So wonderful train. Instead, the ash recreates as if from nothing, and while a shade knows everything, the original. We don't need that. I'm borrowing something from GPT-3 here, which is a limited attention window. Okay, I'm going to roll for gender. I'm going to roll for gender, and I don't like the result, which is why I don't like rolling for gender. I don't know why I decided I would do that. I decided for the exclusion stock, yeah, I'll roll for gender. Also, I feel like it's come up male less, like 4 times. You know what? We're going to do it. We decided to roll for gender. We need a heat species. I think I'm just going to make up a new one. Oops, that's my name? No. That's behind the name. Where is my etymology online? Okay. It's one of my tabs I really like having open, so I can just go to it. Cornelius, yes, Worth the Candle's very, well, I've, like, rolled for gender, like, 6 times now, and the last 5 times it's been male, I think. Maybe that's not entirely correct, but that's what it feels like. It feels like the randomness is coming up, but, yeah, Cornelius, Worth the Candle's very depressing and bad. That's why I wrote what I would call a soft utopia after that, like a place where people don't need to worry about so many things. I could pick a species without gender. Well, no, heat is going to give me igno, right? Which is already a species. I guess it could be igno. Let me see what's said about igno. Ooh, yes, I like this. Do we have a dwarf-caused exclusion? No. We do not. And then we can get another note from Grack. Part of that is that is the nature of the dwarves. I do like using the ash here for a custom species. This appeals to me a lot. And yeah, hot man. Ash Mage is very clear. I don't know why there's church bells. I think this is just the sound effects library going off. There definitely should not be church bells at noon, because there never are. I feel like Ash Mage. Oh man, I don't think they should be called Ash Mages. I think that's like casters. Oh. Yeah. Here, we're just gonna... I am doing this. Cash. That's so dumb. That is so dumb. Okay. Sorry, I'm tired. So I find myself even more hilarious. Especially when it comes to dumb things. Yeah, cashers. I do like Ash Talker's tea. That is also very good. They could be a religious sect. I feel like... I don't know. I have feelings about religion. And like... They're probably... Here, I'm going to add that as a different to-do. I feel like there should be more religious exclusions, but I don't think this is going to be one of them, because partly because it's only been brought up and now thought about by me when I'm already most of the way done. I'm going to call this most of the way done. Yeah, like I do think there's meat there to have the Ash Mages be a religious sect, because then you could talk about religion a little bit more, and their like religious beliefs, but I'd want to have something to say about religion, like something specific to say about religion. So I'm going to save the religious sect idea. Here, I'm actually just change this. I know I'm jumping around a lot. I'm going to save that religious sect idea. I think that's a good one. I think that's like not necessary for the exclusions doc, but I think it'll be better for including something like that. Maybe even 2 bits on religion, but I think that would be a good addition to the doc. Give him a name. God, I hate names. So this is Old English. I'm just gonna hope to find an old. Translator. Oh God. Is this gonna be like a joke thing? We're gonna call him let's see what we get from that. Only N. Okay. System oversubscribed. Word not found. Okay. Then I am going to Yeah, resurrection bit does. I mean, I think you're right. Um, how is trapper not a word? Oh, Smith? No. Smith is probably still going to be Smythe. Smythe in Old English. Banker? Word not found. Okay. I gotta stop doing this then. I'm just gonna, especially if they're gonna rate limit me. Oh, I thought that one felt like it wasn't a joke thing. I might be wrong. The fact that it had a rate limit and that it would just tell me word not found. Here, let's do Smith. Smith. Danish Smed. Can't do Smith because Smith is Juniper's last name. We're gonna do Tree. Tree would be Baum in German. Trail, sure. Something trail. Friest? Or Firest? This is probably... Here, we're just going to do Friest. Firest. Firest Travel. Okay. I know I sometimes it's like, oh, just pick a name for this guy, and then I spend like 5 minutes on it, and the results is just not very good. I just deal with it. You just roll with it. I really like the names of the main cast in This Used to Be About Dungeons, and I don't think they're bad for Worth the Candle. I do try to spend more than 5 minutes and at least have them be meaningful in some way for those. But yeah, this is classic, like a D&D thing where people run into someone and then you need a name for them, and it's just the worst thing. We're gonna... How long does this take? 2017? Did that 1 year make any difference at all? I don't think it did. So that's like 4 years. It's fine. 4 or 5 years. to like figure out something to do with my hands, because one of the things I do when I type is I like turn my wrist kind of to the side when I use the arrow keys, which I do. Inferior copies of people. I think that is just something I'm really fascinated with. I don't think it's a significant recurring theme on ARB. I think it's just something that shows up in my work a lot, and I think it has not shown up in dungeons yet. But that's only because I'm really trying to not hit the same notes. But it shows up in Worth the Candle a lot, and that's just because I find it interesting. And I think if you do that enough, then you can pretend that there's some kind of theme going on there about identity or something. I just think it's neat. It's that one Marge Simpson meme. Marge holding a bunch of copies of Marge. I just think they're neat. But we'll pretend that that's a theme of, identity and repetition, and I could write some kind of artist statement that would make it more... I mean, maybe the reason I find it neat is because of those themes that it naturally brings up. There was a novella that I wrote called The Case of the Sleeping Beauties, which has copies in it too. There are copies of dead people, but kind of the same deal. I guess it doesn't show up in Shadows of the Limelight. Has not shown up in Glimwarden. Probably won't. Maybe it just is Worth the Candle. Maybe I have managed to confine that idea to Worth the Candle. But I wouldn't be surprised if it shows up a lot, because I like it. I just worry it gets boring. Or if it gets boring that you have the same thing show up over and over. Shows up in D&D games a lot, I guess. Oh, yeah, Big Zottle, right. Big Zottle does show up. It does show up in dungeons. It just hasn't manifested, I think, within the text. It's definitely there in the world building, right. I don't know how I missed that. Probably because I'm just so tired. But I committed to doing this, and so I do want to finish it. Even if I'm super distractible today, and I feel like there have been some times I'm just staring at the screen, not talking, not typing, not even thinking. So we'll see. Is this correct? I think so. I know that's not a correct use of warm-blooded, but I'm keeping it because I enjoy it. You say hot-blooded. Um, most other mortal species could survive only with... We're just going to say magical assistance. Virus. That's my best Old English accent. It's probably pretty bad. But you know what? No one speaks Old English, so it's arguably part of my cultural heritage. So it doesn't matter if I screwed up, right? Cold-blooded. Okay. Yeah, this is going to cause problems. Like, no, cold-blooded makes sense. Warm. All right. To do there. We're gonna put a to do there in the interest of me actually getting this done. I'm gonna move on. Because I feel like I need something else there, and I think I'll have it after I wake up from my afternoon nap, which will probably be like 4 hours because I slept very little last night. I had blog post to write and a chapter to get out. But as I've said before, Wednesday is technically my Friday because I don't have any work due except the stuff I need to get in for the audiobook and stuff. Thermophiles? Yes, that is correct. That is exactly the correct word. Thank you, Bacon Time. We're going to say thermophiles. Thermophile is technically heat-loving, but I believe that, like, if they are a variety of extremophile, then that is... I believe that's how the word is used. Heat-resistant would mean that they are not bothered by the heat. Thermophile would mean that they love the heat. Except that the way thermophile is used, sometimes it just means... it also means heat-resistant. Travel to... What's the Bacon Time call this? Oh, Castor. That's such a Juniper thing, too. Like, I find it super funny. But I also feel like it's really in the character of Juniper to call them Castors. Also, like, if I were a DM, it's the kind of pun that I would drop right in the middle of things when people weren't suspecting it. It's the best time to, like, spring a pun on someone. You introduce the Ash Magic thing, and you're talking casually about it, and then you just drop Castor at some point. Okay. I gotta stop giggling about that. It's minor for two reasons, actually. Part of it is that it actually is just an inhospitable environment for, 99% of species. The other part is that the ash ghosts are hostile to species, which we'll get into. That'll be in the features part. Um, Resurrection is maybe not the right word. I'm just plowing ahead. I need to sleep. This is what I was afraid of when I started the stream. I was afraid of my lack of sleep interfering, but we're gonna say they cannot practice magic of their own. Several different centuries. Short attention window closes most loopholes. In the same way that it makes GPT-3 very, very difficult to work with. That short attention window where it's like it's the killer for AI generated stuff, and it's the killer here. And you got to think to yourself, Juniper went into he got transported in 2017, which is before GPT-3 was a thing. So did he predict? did he in his world building predict how much of a killer short attention windows would be for modern deep learning? Left as an exercise to the reader. I do try to not be obviously inspired by modern stuff. Not modern stuff, but like stuff that's like, because Worth the Candle's 5 years old now. Stuff that's like within the past few years. But I'm going to allow this one because I think short attention span is sensible. But here I'm obviously taking from GPT-3 and what it's like to talk to it. Maybe not obviously if you have not heard me talk extensively about GPT-3, which I do a lot. I try not to bother my wife too much about it because I feel like she does not find it very interesting. But anyone else who will give me even the slightest bit of time, I will talk about it. Which is a sign I should be making blog posts. Well, the cache, yeah. I mostly just, there's a specific feeling of talking to GPT-3 and having it forget the things you said earlier in the conversation. And you're like, why did you not? Oh, right, because you have already forgotten that thing I said. They have no loyalty. Well, okay, so this is one of the things I was thinking is that, like, I had this idea that, like, these add mixtures are for, like, length and power and whatever, but you could also, like, work in the ash of some loyal animal and try to, through these additions, change the character of the ash thing that you're summoning. That was my vague idea. I don't think loyalty to their creator, I think, and like, even if they don't have loyalty to their creator, like, even if you were talking to someone with a short attention span, like, you can try as many times as you want. And especially if this is like a semi-secret or little-known magic that people won't have prepared for, you can maybe do it that way. I think the working memory issues are not able to be overcome. I mean, they won't be within this exclusion zone, so it's kind of like... But I like that as a hard limit rather than a soft limit. If I were doing this for, like, D&D, or if it was like a central magic of a book, I might say, yes, you can overcome it a little bit. So you could, like, double the working memory. Because that's interesting, right? If there's, like, some costs associated with, like, a super special ghost that still has that limitation, just less so. But if you fully overcome it, then that becomes immediately less interesting to me again, unless it's unique in some way or something. let's say 221 is what it was in 232, 233, 233, 233. This is the kind of thing that drives people nuts. You say over a decade, and they're like 233. That's 12 years. Why not just say 12 years? Like, I like it though. Blah, blah, blah. End of the Second Empire is 3 something, 324. 324? I'm going backwards in time. 233. Oh, that should be right. 221. 233. 234. 324. Uh... Oh no, you're just an idiot. Good to know. Sometimes I do appreciate being double checked, because I am definitely, I'm at like a 5 out of 10 right now cognitively, and I'm certain to be making some mistakes, and I'm gonna finish this up and then I'm gonna get some sleep. But this is work that needs to be done, that I said would be done. I can't just skip streams Can't skip streams 3 days in a row. Can do it twice. Really only wanted to do it once, but can do it twice without feeling too bad about myself. But I think that's how people fall off their habits. You like skip one day, and you're like, well, I can skip a day, that's fine. And then they skip 2 days because there's like some other reason. And then when you skip 3 days, you get to the point where that's like not a thing you do anymore. It reorients your conception of your habits. I incidentally stopped my Korean practice like a week ago. I had other things going on. I'd been finding it really difficult. I'd been doing Korean practice like almost an hour every day, in addition to my other stuff, and I just fell off for a day, and then fell off for 2 days, and now it's been like, it hasn't been a full week, but it's been long enough that I'm like, I guess I'm just not learning Korean anymore. Very difficult language. I've got a trip to Korea, South Korea. I don't need to specify, but South Korea, in like 2 months, and I just wanted like a very basic, easy conversation, which I'm kind of there, but I don't know. Largely in service of the Second Empire's goals, and particularly with regards to I was going to say terrorists. I want something more sympathetic than terrorists, which would be freedom fighters normally. Here, we'll say revolutionaries. Yeah, rebels is better. Revolutionaries implies that they want to like turn over the old system and make a new system. To me, anyway. If you say you want a revolution, if you're a rebel, then that means you're going against the status quo, but you don't necessarily have an end goal. There's just like an injustice that you're fighting. Rebels is more, to me, more sympathetic than revolutionaries. Freedom fighters is like, I've always felt that the term freedom fighter feels really jingoistic in a certain way. Or it feels like a propaganda term that you would never use in honest communication. Okay, expertise knowledge had been lost. Expert knowledge, not expertise. Collection of we call them casters. I'm going with it. It is less funny now. The like 5th time I'm reading it, and then we need to change it there as well. We call it the site. The site was This doesn't close the Fen loophole. I am fine with that. I'm not sure I'm going to do a note on it because I think it's the way in which these are limited has been made clear. And then we can say 200 years. Okay, features. Yeah, I'm not going to do the note now. I'm going to put a to-do there in case I decide it needs it, but right now I kind of think it doesn't. Just features. The idea is that most of the old books were tightly controlled because this is not a power that the Second Empire wanted people to have. One of the reasons I was saying that you could this doesn't close the Fen loophole is that even if you burned every single Ash Magic book and or whatever, Juniper would still be able to find those books within the Infinite Library. So it does not close that possibility. No. But yes, people could technically relearn it if they wanted to, like, set up a thing specifically within that zone. I also like the idea that someone did do that and it's just not known. Which is where we could put a note. Yes, right. The Second Empire does have countermeasures against the Infinite Library. Does Work the Candle ever mention an actual temperature? Oh god, it's going to be degrees of reasonableness. Why do you do this? Or it's going to be arc degrees. Oh, this right here. Shouldn't use degrees too close in the same sentence. I don't think it's a super bad example. Yeah. Okay, I don't know if Worth Candle uses degrees. It might have been. Shoot. You know, it might use it might use the Romer scale. Sorry about the sounds. I'm gonna be done soon. Okay, temperature. So, okay, Yeah. Sorry. Like I said, 5 out of 10 right now. Caffeine helped a little bit, but definitely cognitively behind. I feel like so there's a. This seems like a thing I would have done. The Romer scale, yeah, it's not how you spell it, but is this temperature scale that has like it's different from Celsius and Fahrenheit. Uh, and I think it's funny. I think it's funny to use something like this, and it has that fantasy feel. Um, but I'm gonna just avoid mentioning degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit or whatever because I think Worth the Candle avoids it too, and I don't want to introduce complications for myself in any future editing endeavors. Book 3 is all edited right now and sent off. Book, but books 4 through 8 need to be edited still, and I don't imagine I'm not going to be changing much from them, just so I can focus on other stuff and just not. I kind of hate editing, but I don't want this exclusion doc to create editing problems for me for Worth the Candle beyond what already exists. Oh. Oh, did not do my wrist or hand exercise. Okay, I like this. I'm going to leave this note to someone as a to-do. I'm going to do nature, and then I'm going to be done. And I'm going to go to sleep. At like 1 o'clock. Sounds like a plan. This is just painfully slow. Are we going to explain why it has this name? No. Maybe later. I kind of like not explaining it. Is it funny? A little bit. Okay. I think this might. This fits in with the exclusion zones that are that like no one really would care about this place, which I kind of like. Like a lot of the exclusion zones hit cities or whatever, but this one is just a place no one would really want to go. It's like having an exclusion zone in the middle of a desert where like you already kind of don't care. I like having that variety. We used ghostly, spectral's fine. Okay. Just gonna blindly click this. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna be done for today. Baron Jewel is in the middle of nowhere, but it wasn't always. And we're gonna get to Baron Jewel next time, probably. Oh, Ash was 223, 221. That's why we double check. We're gonna say first pass. We're gonna say red. We're gonna say next time. Next time's Baron Jewel. Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna get this in the edit. I don't have the brain for it right now. And then we're gonna do lava. And I think lava's gonna be our dwarf exclusion. That sounds fun. How is domestic different? I will let you know when I know. I had my tagline for that one had always been, or my like one sentence thing of that for that one had always been the Winchester Mystery House, and the way in which it's hostile. Like I don't think having a house or here we gotta say lava magic. Okay. And yes, I feel like these entries are just getting longer and longer, and I don't like it. But no, I don't know. I have not worked that one out. Lava's going right here. This should not be red. Come on, brain. This should be green. Okay. All right. Yeah, I have not worked that one out. I will figure it out when we get there. I don't think, like... Here, I'm going to put the Winchester Mystery House thing there, but... I like the idea that it's expanding, or that it's, like... Oh, you just said that. Yeah, I like the idea that it's growing. The actual Winchester Mystery House was a it says historical place museum, which is kind of not. Um, but yeah, this is a cool place. This um I don't know. I think you could read this article. This is the springboard for that particular exclusion is the Winchester Mystery House, and I will figure out that one when I get to it. But I think having a like super powerful entad with like infinite space in it is not a problem for a city. It's actually like kind of a cool thing. And there's like lots and lots of stuff you add to it. One of my regrets of Worth the Candle is that we never got a showdown there. I think I had been setting it up for some kind of grand battle in the hotel lobby, especially with Juniper being able to like fly infinitely up within it. And I never found a way to make it work. And I didn't think it was foreshadowed heavy enough that people would actually miss it if they didn't know about it. But yes, Winchester Mystery House, which is this page. It's funny this is on Paranormal. I mean, she was, I was gonna say crazy, but like maybe not. Um, the 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 entad exclusion is going to be something like this. It's going to be some kind of like crazy hostile, ever-growing place that people still possibly live in. I need to check if it's major or minor. That's going to depend. We'll see what Bacon Time says. This one's minor. I'm actually going to include that for myself. So I need. Oh right, I'm not doing that next time. Okay. Datura. And I'm just going to check that lava magic is... It's like a terrible way to do this. Lava magic is... Barren Reef. Okay, now I need to check this. Barren Reef. Let's look. That matches with... That matches with Major, I think. Okay, whatever. So I'm gonna do all that next time. I'm gonna get some much needed sleep before I have to pick my boy up. Thank you so much for joining the stream with me today. Sorry if I was a little out of it. Hopefully you still got something from it. And if you didn't, there's always tomorrow. We'll be working on Datura Desert, which is a story one. Those tend to be a little bit boring, because you already know them. I'm going to try to just plow through that real fast and then do this one, which will be more interesting because it's new. And Dwarf Caused, which is a good idea from Bacon Time. Okay, and then we are going to do a religious sect one. I need to figure out the right one for that, though, because that was also a good... I also enjoyed that. Okay, thank you so much. See you next time.